shed was built in 1868 to 1871. It's a National Trust building. It was built by John Eddershank, who was a Scottish engineer. The trusses, which are the unique feature of this shed, they were copied from the Charing Cross trusses. They were made in Eddershank's Melbourne workshop. He had a workshop down there. He was an engineer, and they were made in Melbourne and brought up to Serpentine by bullock wagon. The other feature that's important is the windows. Along the roof, he had all windows, and progressively over the years, birds have shattered them and they're broken, and the present owners have got perspex in there. This here is the Ferrier press that he used. You can age them, and that number there would age this about 1880. It's a genuine Ferrier press made in Geelong, but they could compress 2 bales, one there and one there, into 1 bale. These are the wool bayers where they collected the various grades of wool. This is where they would skirt the fleece, pull all the daggy bits off, roll the fleece, throw it, and then it would be placed in one of those categories. Here we have access through the floor to the railway line. I have not been down there, but the railway line's apparently still intact. There's a few of these scattered throughout the region where they'd sweep the droppings or the wool surplus into there, into carriages and straight out. One of the big features of the building are these louvers. Now remember, they were made in 1868 to 1871. They're made of cedar, and they still work and are still being used. This is the important part of a wool shed. This is what they call the shearing board, and this shed was originally fitted with Bergen and Ball machines, not Wolseley machines, and I think there were 63 stands. On the north side here was 30 men. On the south side there'd be 30 men. Over there they had a segregated section for the Aboriginal shearers, and I believe there's also a stand over there for the left-handed shearer. The sheep would be brought in here to the holding pens. The shearer standing there, he would flick this up, usually with his foot. He'd grab a sheep, flick that down. See, they still work perfect. Drag it over here, give it a haircut, and he'd scoot it out there like that. It'd go down the ramp, and he'd then come over and grab the next one. They were shearing about 100 head of sheep a day in those times, roughly. But remember, they were big sheep. It has been accurately recorded that John Eddershank was a prolific inventor. He's attributed, and it's recorded, that he invented the first mechanised shearing handpiece, not Mr. Wolseley. David Eddershank at Swan Hill holds the original patent for this machine. It's patented to James Andrew Bolton Hyam. What was the connection between Hyam and Eddershank? The family's knowledge is there was a bit of skullduggery went on. Nothing was recorded. We don't understand why he designed these machines, and they were registered in other people's names. Now we're moving into the holding area of the shed, where they'd move the sheep in during wet weather, and they could hold 3,000 to 4,000 sheep in here. The steam engine was located here, and we know that because we have the actual original drawings of the shed and the way it was designed. Another unusual feature of the shed is the floor. This wasn't uncommon, however it is important that this shed is still preserved, that the floor slats are tapered, so that as the animal droppings fell, they went into a wedge shape like that, and they didn't cling and they fell to the floor. What we have here are the skirting tables and the sorting tables, and down there you can see the remains of the original Bergen and Ball shearing equipment. This building's been through 3 floods, flooded up to a foot under. The stonework or the brickwork is still in perfect order. One of the unique features of the whole complex was that there was 3 or 4 acres of bricked paving put down to keep the sheep away from the mud. But most of it's covered by grass and dirt, but you can still see here the brickwork or the brick paving is still there, and it extended right around this area. 3 acres is the amount of area covered by red brick. We're now entering the homestead area, beautifully maintained house by the Hook family. Over on our right here is the old laundry, well preserved, good condition as it was. Next to it on the right here, next to the utility, is the old storehouse. In front of us is the tower. Now the tower is an important part of the story. This is the water tower, constructed to drive the lift that John Edershank was going to put into the mansion house that he was preparing to build. Unfortunately, his wife Jane, who was formerly Jane Patterson, she died, and he was broken-hearted. He never went on with the building of the mansion. However, we have the tower here today to remind us of what was to be. He had a sad story, John Edershank. He had 5 daughters, and they all predeceased him. He had 2 wives, and they predeceased him. He went back to London in 1912 and died at Rickmansworth in north of London. And just a month before he died, his last daughter had died. So a very sad story. He went home with a broken heart, is what the locals say. It's a tank. It's probably 3 metres deep. It's 4 metres diameter, and it's domed with bricks. And that's where the surplus water went, and that's what kept them alive. The manager's residence used to be here, but it was brought down in earlier years. Over here we have, in a state of disrepair, the old station office, the harness room, stables, a stable, and out the back is the workshop. John Edershank was also involved in a very early stock and station agents organisation called Eggleston, Edershank and Mann, and they were a very, very large organisation. They sold out to other stock and station agents after Mr. Mann died.
For more information, visit asrp.wordpress.com and order your copy of the Red Brick Woolshed now. Online, you can also find a wide range of historical books and videos, and even have a free download. If you have any queries, there's a contact form so you can talk with Ian directly or order the books. All this and more is waiting for you at asrp.wordpress.com.